So, fathers, what are your thoughts on allowing children to believe in Santa Claus? Father Alloy, we'll start with you.
All right. Well, I mean, my parents raised me, believing in Santa. I don't think that it's lying to your children. I've heard that said by priests and things like that. If somebody is under the illusion that telling kids about Santa Claus is lying to their children, they need to read this book, Letters from Father Christmas by Tolkien, who was a trad. He was a dad. And this book is a collection of letters that he wrote impersonating Father Christmas. And he wrote them over 20-something years to his children. And he would tell them, hey, sorry, I'm late this year in writing. The polar bear who was helping me, wrap the presents, he stumbled over and ruined my house. And, and it's absolutely, he drew pictures and all that. There's some North Pole runes that he makes up. There's some different characters that he introduces in the story. And so, yeah, I do not think that telling your children about Santa is lying. There is a point, obviously, when as a child you speak as a child, and then as an adult you put away the things of a child. So at a certain point you do need to tell them, the full literal truth, not just the mythological truth. But that's just where I stand.
Well, I'm not usually one to argue with Tolkien, so
there he goes.
That's pretty strong. I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit more. If you take sort of the Thomistic definition of lying, which is asserting something contrary is how you have it in your mind, to see how that would play out with the Santa Claus thing would be interesting, because I think it's definitely one thing, and Thomas would allow for this, which is make believe. But that's a case where everybody knows that you're making believe. But in the case of this, it seems like only certain people know you're making believe and other people think it's true. I don't think there's anything wrong with, say, giving presents in honor of St. Nicholas or in honor of, St. Lucy or whatever the particular tradition might be. Because there is the tradition, sort of even before the whole Christmas present thing, of St. Nicholas supposedly coming the night before if you leave your shoes out and they leave sort of candy or stuff in your shoe. So I wouldn't be opposed to saying this is being done in honor of St. Nicholas or in honor of St. Lucy or whoever else might be, because different cultures have different traditions, like the Italians have La Befana and instead of Santa Claus and all these different things. But I think, in terms of saying this was done in honor of Santa Claus, I think that's okay. But to say no, there's really this person that's when you know it's not true, but you're saying yes, this is actually true. I don't see how that doesn't fall at least into what St. Thomas would say is a jocose lie. And again, I think it's one thing if everyone is playing pretend and everyone knows you're playing pretend, that's one thing. But when only certain folks in the equation know that it's pretend and others don't, that's where things seem to get morally murky.
If Santa Claus isn't real, though, how do you explain this picture? Oh, well, it's hard to see. There it goes. This picture of me on a train, and look who's in the center there. So I don't know, Father Rock. I feel like that's pretty compelling evidence to me.
Photo evidence.
Photoshop. Yeah, I'm in a Photoshop.
Fine, fair, you got me. No, I'm just playing. So when I'm saying this, I grew up, and so in my family, we grew up with a belief in Santa, and then kind of naturally, as you get a little older into the age of reason, and specifically when you discover that maybe mom and dad hide the Christmas Xbox presents at the very top of their closet. Not saying any of us found that out. I feel like there's almost a media via for a lot of Catholics here, which I feel like now in retrospect, I think it's totally great. And I'd love to read the book by J.R.R. Tolkien, Father Alloy, because I know that G.K. Chesterton has a really great little short essay about Father Christmas. And it's an analogy actually for the church. And I've always really liked it. But I wondered if I wish that there was more of a synthesis of Santa Claus is St. Nicholas. And while he's not real, he's not the reason for the season, there are traditions that we do that we should happily, as culturally, participate in.
So I will say that growing up, I did do the whole letter writing thing and the milk and cookie things and putting out the reindeer food.
Yeah, the reindeer
probably actually
food.
Bird food. Leaving the carrot for Rudolph and going to see the mall Santa or the Santa at the firehouse after the tree lighting and all that stuff. Yeah, I grew up with all that, but sort of as you go, especially going through seminary, you're like, this is what lying is, and you're like, oh well, if this is what lying is, like I don't see how you can sort of get around it.
So
like
the seminary
sort of,
ruined Christmas.
Yeah, that's a new episode title right there.
The seminary ruined Santa Claus. Yes, there you go. But the seminary, we do put out our shoes on St. Nicholas Eve and wake up the next morning and there's candy in them.
Do you guys really?
So we do, yeah. So you can put out as many shoes as you want, and someone goes around and fills them with candy.
I think Father Rock needs a trip to New York City, dressed in an elf costume to reclaim his Christmas spirit.
Caught
Which
in 4K.
movie? Elf?
That's Elf. Thank
Elf.
you.
Yeah.
I mean, I got through like the first 10 minutes of that, and I just couldn't. I'm sorry. I couldn't do it.
It's a bit
Wow,
of nonsense.
what a denier.
But again, I don't think there's anything wrong with these traditions as long as it's framed correctly. Like this is done in honor of Saint Nicholas or honor of, the Christ child or in honor of the Magi, depending on, sort of what tradition you follow. But to be like, yes, like this man came down the chimney and just like, but did he?
We don't even have a chimney. We're in suburbia.
Yeah.
No, this is all very fair. So to you, Father Alloy, is it possible that if Santa is going to visit New York City, should he come with some more heavy armament and some bodyguard protection? Then is that the only way he's going to stay safe
He should bring his license to carry, and
in New York?
I think the North Pole has reciprocity with New York City.
Yeah. You know what? We could fact check this. I don't know. I've learned so much about what your guys' seminary experience was too. This is one of the great questions. I want a council to deal with this. All right. How the proper application of Santa to Catholics, and also is the reciprocity of New York City the same as, oh yeah, Daniel's writing now. We only have 30 seconds left. This is worth it. Santa is tracked by NORAD. Oh, that's right. Father Rock, I don't know. It sounds like the evidence is just stacked up though. Like he's tracked by NORAD. Would the government lie to us?
Would the
Yes.
government lie to us?
Would it ever tell the truth?
Would it?